Hello and welcome to GEOSCOPE on Politics Social. I'm joined by Ollie Bowler Hatman. How you doing, Ollie?
All right.
Over there in Yorkshire, mate.
Well,
we were only 3 minutes late, which is much more better than Musk was last night and Trump. They were 40 minutes faffing around,
weird music,
trying to live stream a phone call. A phone call.
Yeah.
You know. Did they even bother making a thumbnail, Ollie? Did they? Did they have to hook up Google Meet to this? Did they have to make a little nice scrolling animated background that's a rip-off from Last Week Tonight, but who cares?
I didn't notice if you heard Trump saying, oh, they had all these things set up around them, like part of it. Like, say, I've tried to listen to all of it, but my word.
Yeah.
Listening to Trump and Elon talk for an hour, what an ordeal. Like, what an absolute ordeal.
Someone said it was like listening to two old men rambling in the pub.
Yeah.
Putting the world to rights.
I've never done it. I've always, like, heard the bits and seen the outtakes.
Yeah.
But I've never listened to, like, a full, like, Trump speech or interview. Like, oh, my word. It was boring. It was weird.
Yeah. I've got to interrupt you there, though, mate, because we've had an urgent question come in from Puninator.
Oh, an urgent question. Are we? Hold on, let me.
Where's the Panama hat, man?
Yeah, because it's too warm for the bowler hat. So I was prepared.
Seriously, it's bloody freezing here in Durham. I've got my hoodie on. It's actually raining. It's been shit all day.
It's been an absolute belter today.
Yoni says a phone call is a challenging thing to live stream with only one global platform at one's disposal, says Yoni. I mean, considering that their platform is worth, apparently, according to Musk, $44 billion because we paid for it, you would think that being able to live stream a phone call would be within the realms of feasibility. And this is the third time this has gone tits up, isn't it?
Yeah, I could do it. Well, I could before Musk changed the rules, because now you've got to have a premium Twitter account to be able to live stream. So at one point, I could literally go live on Twitter at the press of a button. Can't now, and I ain't giving any money to Elon Musk.
Yeah. Same here. When I first started doing the live streams on here, I used to go out on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube all at the same time. And I had all the messages coming in from all the different platforms and a little icon, depending on what platform they were coming in from. But because 99% of them were coming from YouTube, and that's the only channel you can actually make money on, I just decided to sack the other ones off. But isn't that interesting? Like Spotify, is it Spotify who you can, if you want to do some podcasts on that, you've got to pay them for the privilege of using their platform. And it's like, but you're making content that just drives me mad. What a crazy world. It's like suing people for not advertising on your website.
And then, surprisingly, advertisers being quite frightened of that and then walking away even more.
So, give me money or I'll sue you, said Elon Musk to various companies, including Unilever and Mars Confectionery this week.
This story broke when we were live last week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But I still can't believe he's going through with it. I mean,
I can.
I can't see how this gets to court. I really can't. And
I've Texas, isn't it? It's Texas, isn't it?
But say what's he exactly suing us for? What is he doing?
Suing.
And the boss of Unilever put it best. I think she put out if in a lot of articles and responses that have done this, she put out her response that she's like, well, sorry, Elon Musk doesn't get to decide where we spend our advertising money.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
did you see the video? I'll come to it in a second. But thank you very much to GHK. No question, right? This is a super chat. Thank you so much. Just respect for a great channel. Thank you very much. Yay. But yeah, did you see the woman, the Twitter woman who's like been brought in by Musk?
Yeah,
and she was doing this weird. And do you know the other gobshite who did that? That was what's his name? Russell Brand. You know when he got done for being a big nonce.
Yeah.
for being a sex pest.
Yeah,
for being...
and she's doing all these like weird one of the things I still don't understand is why she's trying to bring in everyone else. Like, no, it's Twitter is suing, these advertisers. It's got nothing to do with people who use Twitter. They're not going after Twitter, like Twitter users. It's
quit with the weird gesticulating. Gesticulation for the nation. Yeah. It's really weird. It's really weird.
And I've done a lot of like filming of CEOs like over my time period and
over my dead body.
There's some weird things where some CEOs are all right, some are absolutely terrible, but I've never seen a CEO come over like they've been kidnapped, being held hostage, because that's honestly how she comes across.
It did come across like a hostage video.
Just held hostage. Like,
it was though Musk
hand movements. Like,
it's as though Musk was standing behind the camera saying, says the words on the card, or it gets the hose again.
Yeah.
It's just like, what the hell? It was very, very. It's been a very strange week for that whole Trump Musk. Trump did an interview, no, press conference, sorry, in Mar-a-Lago, where he just rambled for an hour, and it was boring. And do you know what? We've finally cracked it. It doesn't matter like how obnoxious Trump is; he'll still get support, unless he's boring.
He's always going to have his little cult, little faction following him now.
But
it's there. It's baked in now forever.
But the only way for him to get his little swinging voters, the swingers, is to be interesting. And he's not. Everyone's going, oh my God, he's so boring. And I think this is going to be the new attack thing, right? So last week it was weird, pointing out how weird he is. Now you're going to see, mark my words, I won't stake my hat on it, but, very nearly. I reckon they're going to go on about how boring he is, because that takes so much more of the mystique away from him. The fact that he is really, really dull. I mean, he can't even stay awake during his own court cases. That's how dull he is.
Yeah. The other thing that was weird was Elon would ask him a question and say, what about this? And then Donald would turn around and say, oh, no, you're wrong about that immigration statistic or whatever you just said. And Elon would immediately fold like a house of cards and go, yes, Mr. Trump. Oh, yes, you're so right. But you just said that. What? Just what are you doing questioning him like that and like asking a question and then folding immediately on what, like the question that you've asked him? But yeah, it was
quite interesting though to have two people who blatantly have narcissistic personality disorder sort of fawning over each other. But I think Trump had the upper hand because, like you said,
thing is, Trump's an entertainer.
Do you know what it reminded me of? Yeah. The interview that Tucker Carlson did with Vladimir Putin, where he was like, "I'll just sit here and tickle your balls while you just say whatever you want, mate."
Tucker's going. I don't know, that weird Tucker face that he makes.
It's funny because Tucker rhymes with fucker. Do you reckon his parents knew? I think they knew. Alan's telling me that if Ollie's holding me hostage, I need to say Wibble. Oh no, just said it. He's not holding me hostage. It's fine. Code green. For all the Trekkies out there. Jez Hunt, boring and weird, tedious old rambling man, and Musk proper has the horn for him. It was a little bit gruesome as well. I didn't listen to the whole thing. I just heard a few bits of it. Trump was speaking slurred.
No, that was the platform. That was just how bad Twitter is as a platform. That's how it comes across.
No. He had a lisp. He had a definite lisp. He was saying THs where S's should be.
That's the platform. That's not him having a lisp or anything like that. That is the actual Twitter platform. That's how bad it is. Because
piss off.
Technology was that bad.
It can't be that bad. We've had digital phone calls for years now. No.
But that is honestly just how bad the platform is. It's just so bad. It had nothing to do with like him having anything like that. It was just how bad Twitter is. Oh, another thing was Elon kept on calling his platform Twitter as well.
Did he? I didn't even notice that. Brilliant. He was dead naming his own platform, which he
Yep.
wants to call X, but literally no one in the world calls X.
Yep.
My God. And also, here's another knock-on effect. So this is like, I mean, if they wanted to screw up Trump's campaign any more than it's already screwed up, one of the other knock-on effects of this is the investors in Truth Social, Trump's like version of Twitter, were today going, what the hell? You know, he's gone back to Twitter. What is the point of Truth Social, which floated on the stock exchange a few months ago, made millions, untold millions for Trump. And those investors are going to get pennies on the dollar. Oh, well, what a shame. I never thought these leopards would eat my face.
Ego boost for Trump to have his own social media, and then it failed. And then, you know, who walks away with all the money? Well, it will probably be Donald Trump.
Yeah. GHK, Ollie, where's the global chat, man? Musk stinks. Well, Musk is a South African in America interviewing another American. It's pretty global. But we have got other stories to talk about, and we do need to come on to what is going on in the Kursk region of Russia. And this is another thing that kicked off while we were broadcasting last week. We were like, oh, Ukraine's just had a little incursion into Kursk. But no, it's a lot more than that. Yeah. Oh, my God.
Yeah. I thought this was another, because in the past we've had these incursions, but they've been done by what's known as the Russian Free Legion.
Yes.
So I thought initially when this all started that this was just another incursion, but no, this is actually Ukraine going into Kursk and taking Russian territory.
Yes, and taking a lot of Russian territory. I know Russia's a very big country. It's the biggest country in the world, but the amount of territory they've taken is the equivalent of San Marino, Liechtenstein, and Monaco put together. It's quite a lot.
And it's more territory than Russia has successfully taken than in the past 3 months.
Oh, wow. Wow. We've got another super chat from Puninator. Ollie, if Graham is holding you hostage, let us know by putting on your bowler hat, and we'll launch a special 3-day operation to save you by 2026. Bracket, maybe. Thank you very much for that, Puninator.
what if I do this and it's like, you know,
he takes it off 3 times. Blink 3 times. Different eyes. This is an audacious raid into Russia, and what is brilliant about this? Again, it's like. It's the knowledge that you don't have to push that hard against an enemy that is so fundamentally corrupt. One of the big problems they've got in the Russian military is the corruption is just off the charts. And because everyone is terrified to give any kind of bad news to anyone because you're likely to, I don't know, be thrown out a window or blown up in a plane. Like, everyone's like, no, everything's fine until it's too late. And the Ukrainians know this. The Ukrainian, the people in charge, they're old enough to remember the USSR and what it was like. And they're like, this is their weakness. This is that. And we're going to push on that weakness. And there was this weird, I don't know, would you call it, I wouldn't call it, a televised meeting between Putin and his top generals, who have been decimated, by the way. He's got rid of like nearly half of them, hasn't he, in the last couple of years because they have displeased him. So the last few yes men left who were like, yes, Putin, yes, whatever you say, Vladimir. And basically they just kept on telling him how shit the situation was, and he just looked unhappy. Yep. And that was it. He didn't go, all right, this is what we're going to do, launch into action. And it was being broadcast live on Russian TV, and I'm sitting there going, whose idea was this? It's freaking bizarre. Anyway, what do you reckon's going to happen next?
Oh, well, difficult to predict, really, isn't it? I mean, I didn't see this coming. I didn't see Ukraine doing something like this at all. But in the grand scheme of things, if you want to help topple Putin, then you've got to make him look weak. And how do you make him look weak? Well, you attack into his territory. You start by poking his stuff. We've seen attacks on Russian bases and etc. Now you've gone to the next step and taken territory. And bear in mind, this isn't just any territory we're talking about, this is Kursk. And in the like Russian psyche, especially when it comes to the Great Patriotic War, because remember, in Russia, World War II started in 1941. They just ignore everything that happened before that. Just ignore the other stuff that went on.
What, when they were trying to get a treaty with Adolf Hitler, the
Yep.
Ribbentrop-Molotov Pact,
Yep.
or whatever
attacking, Finland, taking the Baltics,
Oh, yeah.
carving up Poland, all that.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
didn't happen. But
Danzig Corridor? What Danzig Corridor?
Yeah, Kursk to Russia is incredibly symbolic, because that was like one of the biggest tank battles, and big turning points of World War II. So Kursk is incredibly symbolic in like the Russian mindset. So
Yeah.
taking this not only makes Putin look massively weak as someone who's meant to be like a strong leader, and his whole MO is, I am here to keep Russia safe, but he is now losing territory in a place where it is incredibly symbolic to the rest of Russia. So Putin is being hit doubly so on this. And not only that, we have seen that Russia are evacuating people from this region. And where are these people going to go? They're going to go back to the other cities, back to the other towns and villages, and start to say, we were forced to retreat. They are not holding, Ukrainians hold us as hostage, etc. That is going to have, I think, a lot of repercussions maybe down the line. Maybe not straight away, but once again, over time. We've seen a lot of stuff happen to Russia from seeds that have been planted like a couple of weeks ago, a couple of months ago, or maybe in a couple of years ago down the line. We saw that when the Wagner coup happened, of them being, absolutely destroyed in Bakhmut, not receiving their ammo and ammunition. So what happened to them? They eventually decided to, go and, have a fun ride to Moscow. So who knows what this could lead to? Who knows what this could lead to? But this is very, very significant.
Well, we have Ernie Burns basically saying "fall of Putin" coming soon in the
possibly.
Chat. So
we hope so.
Fingers crossed. One Angry Pagan, thank you very much for the £5 super chat, mate. My thoughts is Japan preparing for a potential magnitude 9 earthquake, a mega quake, after last week's 7.1. They seem to be taking this as serious potential, apparently. Yes, deadly serious, because this is the once in 100 years earthquake, and they don't know when it's going to hit or where exactly it's going to hit, but they feel like there's something big coming. That's what all the data is.
It's not just here where something like this could happen, but it's California as well. That's been something that doesn't get brought up quite a couple of years. They're expecting another big one soon. So
yes, well, San Francisco, it's every 100 years, and their last one was what, 1906, was it? So they're like 20 years overdue.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people thinking something like that might happen in over there soon. So who knows? Who knows on that one? But yeah, like I say, thoughts go out to them. Definitely.
Do you know what? I'd be really sad about San Francisco. I've not been to San Francisco. It was the last place in America that I wanted to go to on my list, and then I had problems getting in to the country. So yeah, I hope nothing happens to it. Captain Bart Roberts is here to tell us that the Richter scale is logarithmic. Thank you. Just like Star Trek started off with the captain's logs.
Oh,
what?
Something else that came out. Because the Russian envoy to the UN, because of this invasion, he has now said that they are withdrawing Putin's very, very generous offer to end the war, which was, I remind you, Ukraine had to surrender Zaporizhia, Kherson, Donetsk, Luhansk, and Crimea, and then accept all of other Moscow's demands and then
Okay.
that would end the war.
Okay. Fantastic.
So
Great.
basically, give us everything we want, and that is the generous offer, and then we'll end the war. And now that has been withdrawn,
Yeah.
according to this UN envoy. So, that incredibly unhelpful, offer that Ukraine was never going to take, no
Yeah.
one was ever going to take, has now been taken off the table. So, sad day for diplomacy.
Yeah.
Not giving into Russia's every single mad, crazy demand. Sad day for diplomacy there.
Cavan Lad says, good evening all. Hello, Cavan Lad. And decibels, apparently, they're logarithmic. Alan Barker says, Leicester Square perpetrator is a 32-year-old Romanian of no fixed address. Expect the right-wing nutcase to have something to say about this. Well, he is white, so that means we probably won't see any riots in the next couple of weeks. And funnily enough, the usual shit starers were a bit quiet this time. They didn't immediately assume that it was a Muslim who came across here on a little dinghy last week to come and murder people in this country. So but it still feeds into the whole foreign bad narrative that the right-wing press cling on to like a door on the
yes, we had
wreckage of the Titanic.
We had one of the people who tried to burn down the hotel.
Yes.
Because that wasn't too far from where I am. Do you know what his excuse was?
It wasn't you, was it? You weren't going around burning down hotels with women and children in. What's wrong with you, Ollie?
Jesus. No.
It was Rotherham, wasn't it? Rotherham.
Well, it's actually technically on the border, between Barnes and Rotherham. But you know what his excuse was? I was just caught up in the events of the day. It's like, what?
Jesus Christ.
So you were just caught up in the events of the day, which just happened to be burning down a hotel with people inside.
Yeah.
Yeah. What an excuse.
Yeah. That's quite remarkable. Anyway, just back to Russia for a moment. This was completely unexpected, and I was going to mention the fact that nothing's been happening much. The Russians have been making some small advances, as you mentioned, not as big as the advance that Ukraine has made into Russia. And it did look for a long time like Ukraine was on the back foot. But after this, I mean, could you see do you think this is going to make the war end quicker? Do you think this is going to push the way to a peace deal, to getting the Russians out of eastern Ukraine and even Crimea faster?
Maybe. I mean, I can't really predict how this is going to end in some way, shape, or form. No one really predicted how the war was going to start. There was still a lot of people. Even myself, when all this started going, was, is this going to actually work? Is this going to actually, pop off? But then, of course, Putin invaded, so that was one thing. But this war has just been constantly one thing after another of really Ukraine defying expectations and Russia massively underperforming as what was meant to be, as they purported themselves before the war, meant to be like the second most powerful military in the world. Judging by how they've gone by this, I don't think they can really claim that anymore. But who knows? I would love this just to end tomorrow and Russia just goes away. But
go away and shut up. Shut up and go away.
Yeah, none of the territory that they claim really is theirs. I mean, remember, this entire thing initially started to take Donbass and Luhansk. Now, as we said earlier, they want to take Zaporizhia, they want to take Kherson as well. So that's two other big sort of areas of Ukraine. That would mean Ukraine losing a lot of its coastline.
Yeah. Well, they want Odessa. They want Odessa as well.
Yeah, that was definitely part of the original war goals. If you remember, Lukashenko sharing the invasion plan, and that's all to give obviously a corridor over to Transnistria, and then as I've said in the past, the worry is then after you're done in Ukraine, you then sort of go into Transnistria and do what you want to do in Moldova and then pass it over to the Transnistrian authorities, who will then go, oh, well, we want to be part of Russia again.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yet another glorious part of Russia returned to the motherland, as Putin, I'm sure, would say. But
Pikachu is saying Russia is a paper tiger, which I completely agree with. Puninator, thank you very much for the £10 super chat. That's very kind of you. The war won't end until Putin does. I think his advisors are waiting to see if he'll get a Trump-shaped savior next year. But if November goes correctly, they'll start planning a Putin and Gravity meet. Yeah,
I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think the Trump win in November is going to happen now. I think.
Don't jinx it. Don't jinx it. It could still happen. He is still supported by all the evil billionaires of the world, and they do have a lot of power. But he's looking out at sea now and looking at the polls. Oh my God, Kamala has turned things around like you would not freaking well believe. Especially in those all-important swing states. If she gets Pennsylvania and Michigan, and where else does she need to get? Georgia, is it?
Georgia potentially.
There's like 3 places she needs to get, and she's in. That's it. Of the 6 battleground states, and she's looking really pretty rosy in all 3 of them at the moment. But you know what? The election's not for another 3 months. Anything can happen in the next.
Well, you look at
happen in the next half hour.
How different it's been in the past 3 weeks, and it just gives you the idea of anything can happen. Anything can happen when it comes to sort of politics. A week is a long time in politics, as they say. 3 months is half an eternity almost in politics. So who knows where we'll be in 3 months' time? But honestly, Harris has the momentum here with Waltz. And I really do think they are really pushing in the right direction. They are setting out what they want to do with, with what they're going to do. Expect this topic of conversation to actually come up. What do you do about, Ukraine and Putin? That is going to be, I think, possibly a big question when it does come to the election more closely now. And I think
Vance has already said he doesn't care about Ukraine. Vance has said doesn't give a shit. So
this is I think this is going to become more and more part of the campaign as this rolls on.
Caravan Lad saying, someone on Twitter said that Russia is a paper tiger. That's on fire. Ernie's saying that the GOP, the Genital Obsessed Party, de facto arms embargo on Ukraine really helped Russia. Now that's over. Russia is in a terrible position. It absolutely did. And Alex French is saying Kamala is awesome, which she is. We've got Colin saying Scaramucci prediction of Trump dropping out of the race. This is Anthony Scaramucci.
I've seen him say
famously
that
part of the Trump regime for what was it? 11 days? Was it that Scaramucci was part of?
Yeah, I don't think that would ever happen. I really don't
think his ego would allow it. Yeah.
Even if they decided we are going to get rid of you. Like Trump would have to be dragged kicking and screaming. Yeah. And it's not just getting rid of him. It's then who do you put in place that can do that and sort of take his spot? Do you go for what's her face now? Nikki Haley. Do you go for Nikki Haley to stand against Harris? Potentially, maybe, but who knows? But that I will believe it if it happens. But until it happens, I can't see it happening. I can't see it happening.
I love the idea that if it happened, you'd be like, "No, I don't believe this." You'd be sitting there going, "No, he's still standing. He's definitely standing."
Well, that's the thing with Trump. Never say never until it actually happens.
Yeah,
because he would not leave that position quietly. He would be dragged kicking and screaming. There is no way he would do that like that.
Well, I don't think
Absolutely
he
not.
would either. We got a message from Svax, over in Ukraine. Where was it? It was in here somewhere. Saying, agreeing with Puninator. Oh, I've got a cup of tea. Thank you very much. Cheers. I agree with Puninator. Don't see it ending until at least the election in November. Jax is saying she needs the Midwest to win, and that's it. Talking about Kamala. Christine Cruz is saying Putin will have a nasty fall from a basement window. Plumdorfer said 2024 has been a monumental and pivotal year. Yes, hopefully it is the year that everything changes. Big shout out to all the B5 fans out there. And Emma Price, thank you very much for the super chat, Emma. Isaac Hayes' family have taken out a massive lawsuit against Trump and Celine Dion. No. You mean, and also Celine Dion has taken out a massive lawsuit. Also, the UAW also against Musk and Trump after his last night's debacle.
That's something else I was going to bring up. Do you know who Musk is blaming for that stream being delayed? Because when he started
DDoS attack. DDoS attack.
There's this big DDoS attack. For those who don't know what that means, that's denial of service. So it's when you bombard someone's server just by like requests to use emails, etc.
It's like when you have a big streaming platform and 1 million people want to use it all at once.
Gee, who would ever think having such a big platform and maybe making sure that it can be used by that many people at once might be a priority?
Well, they needed a very stable genius in the room, but there wasn't one to be found.
Yeah.
Go on. What are you saying? So, who are they blamed for it?
So this builds into an even bigger conspiracy theory. So you get your tinfoil hats ready for this one.
Okay.
Musk has come out and blamed Disney.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Musk has blamed Disney for this DDoS attack.
Okay.
Right.
Walt Disney's frozen head. That's responsible.
Oh well, maybe, but he's blaming Disney for this. Now, why is he blaming Disney? Well, like I say, get your tinfoil hats ready because this is the new Musk-spiracy that the Elon fanboys are now pushing. As you may or may not have heard, Musk is now supporting someone called Gina Carano in her efforts to sue
She's
Disney.
An actress. She was a wrestler who was an actress. She was in the first Deadpool movie, and then she was in The Mandalorian.
Yep. So the theory goes is that he is backing their case, and that during discovery, where they can ask for evidence, that Musk is going to get all this evidence, and then he's going to release all this evidence, which you are not allowed to do. Okay. And then the stock market price of Disney is going to tank, and then Musk will then buy Disney, and then the Magic Kingdom will be restored.
Sorry, you missed me. Was there a bit in the middle where I drifted off? What's he specifically? How was last night's debacle anything to do with Disney? I didn't quite get that connection.
Exactly. I don't understand either, but Musk has gone out and blamed Disney for this.
This is like South Park, isn't it?
And
just
this is
the gnomes, question mark, profits.
Yeah, okay, this is all part of this Musk-spiracy for him to eventually buy Disney and save it from its wokeness. Which, okay.
Like Ron DeSantis wants to do. Ron DeSantis, who famously got married in Disney World.
Yep. And Ron DeSantis, who eventually realized, don't mess with the mouse.
Because he got his ass kicked by them.
Yeah, they absolutely kicked his ass. So if Musk wants to take on Disney, hey, Disney's got, shall we say, a better armament than Musk has.
We had a super chat here from GHK. Thank you very much for that. Trump has never been in the race. The human race. See what you did there. I'd love Disney to destroy Musk. Someone was putting out before, like if Musk and Disney go at it, like everyone wins. It's a bit like the opposite of Alien versus Predator. Whoever wins, we lose. No, it's whoever wins, whoever loses, we win. But yeah, the idea that Elon Musk is not going to be in jail in the next couple of years is, look, if Trump gets in, obviously Elon is relying on Trump. this is so weird. Okay, so you basically have at the moment this like murder-suicide pact. So imagine it like the end of Reservoir Dogs. You have 3 people in this murder-suicide pact. Elon Musk, Vladimir Putin, and Donald Trump. They are all counter-dependent on each other. And Trump has to win this election, or all 3 of them are going to jail, or in Putin's case, worse.
Yep.
So it's imperative that that Trump does not win this election, not least because he's going to make life very difficult for everyone in America who was born with a vagina, or who is gay, or who is an ethnic minority, or who has a different religion to the state religion, or just anyone really who looks at him funny. So it is like mutually assured destruction right now for those 3 characters, because you've got these Silicon Valley con artists who have conned investors out of billions, who are now sitting in a jail cell. There was the Sam Bankman-Fried, Elizabeth Holmes, the guy behind the Nikola truck.
He owns his own cryptocurrency as well. Was it Doge?
Did he buy Dogecoin?
Is it either I can't remember if he owns Doge or he actually has a lot of stock or bought a lot of the Dogecoin. It's one of the two. I can't remember which one now, but of course he's involved in crypto in some way.
Sfax is saying, well, actress is a bit of a stretch, to be honest. So I'm making the connection here. So the woman who was in The Mandalorian, she's got a court case against Disney, and Musk is going to help her with a court case.
Yep.
What's that got to do with the technical problems they had last night with the
exactly? I don't see this. This is part of the whole Musk conspiracy. I don't even see like how this is all connected either. But it's somehow all connected to this lawsuit, and that during discovery, Musk is going to get all these documents, and then that's going to somehow tank the Disney stock price, which will then allow Musk to then buy Disney, which again I do not see happening.
No. Captain Bart Roberts, thank you very much for the super chat there, mate. That's very kind of you. Asking, I missed something. Why is the Space Karen trying to avoid court? But he's not, is he? He's trying to go to court.
No, he's trying to go to court. Yeah. He's like I say, he wants this court case with Gina Carano to go through, so that again he can get all this discovery information. But like I say, I think Disney's lawyers are going to have a lot to say about that.
But with
that information
with Gina, what's her surname? Sorry, Gina
Carano.
Gina Carano. I mean, okay, she got dismissed, and she feels like her contract wasn't renewed. So that's one thing. She wasn't fired. There wasn't necessarily going to be a Mandalorian season 3 because it wrapped up at the end of season 2, and that's when all sensible people should have stopped watching it, because season 3 was absolute dog's arse. But this happens time and time again in the industry, that it's not a case of you being sacked. It's just a case that they literally don't give you a job.
She was doing some very anti-trans tweets, shall we say? So that's part of the reason why she lost her position, but she also had a lot of.
When you're making a TV show, it's season by season. You don't know if it's going to get picked up again the next season.
Well, no, she was,
and she wasn't even the main character. She was a reoccurring guest star. For Christ's sake,
this was it. She was on to do another series. She was going to do Rangers of the New Republic.
Oh, okay.
That's what she was down for. That's what she was going to take.
God, that sounds shite. Rangers of the New Republic. Jesus.
But that's now being
glad they didn't make that.
I can't remember the guy's name now, but he's in the Mandalorian as well. He's the X-wing pilot. Can't remember his name now, but yeah, he'd be actually pretty good. I'd actually be interested in seeing him lead that.
Andrew Antonio, thank you so much for the super chat, mate. I keep saying it's time to leave Twitter, join Blue Sky. Adam Bienkov of Byline Times is now there with 20,000 followers. Also, Sky News reporting on it. Thanks, Andrew. I'm not on Blue Sky. I am on Threads, and I know that's owned by Zuckerberg. But at least he isn't actively going out and being obvious in his fascistic tendencies. Although, have you heard about Zuckerberg and Hawaii? It looks like you're in Hawaii, actually.
Oh well, maybe, maybe this week.
He's bought himself like almost an entire island. So like 98% of this island is his now, and sod the people who actually live there. And he's built like a massive underground bunker so he can live out his days when the nuclear apocalypse comes. Thing is, though, I mean,
we all know where it is now. let's go to. If it all ends, let's go to Hawaii.
But this is the thing. This is the thing. People are going, oh, if this massive quake happens in Japan, it could cause, depending on where it is, what the tide's like, and all the different factors that go into building a tsunami, you could end up with a tsunami heading towards Hawaii.
Yep.
And if it's a 9 magnitude quake, then Jesus, that's gonna, it doesn't bear thinking about. Anyway, Christine Cash, thank you very much for the cash. Elon and Donny, idiot kings of great Simpletonia. Yes, yeah. I mean, they're just so stupid. I mean, in a way, I feel like we're repeating that line that they said, in the very early days of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, where there was footage of a soldier saying, "We're just lucky they're so fucking stupid." In a way, we're lucky that these people are so incompetent evil. If they were competent evil, then we might have problems.
Yeah,
but
that's it. It's not the incompetent fascists you've got to worry about. It's the competent ones. That's why Project 2025 was really, really worrying, and that's why
it is still worrying.
It's still very worrying. That's why that started to gather traction. That's why news outlets started to have a look at that and actually pay attention to what was in that, because a lot of these people were around Trump, being associated with him and saying this, and Trump even brought up Project 2025 a couple of times, and now it looks like he's had to distance himself from it. But like I say, if Trump does win, he's absolutely going to implement Project 2025, which would be absolutely terrifying on so many levels.
Yeah. Are you on Blue Sky? Just to go back to that.
No.
Are you thinking of going on Blue Sky?
Not there yet. Maybe I need to have a look into it, but I think I think it's like a bit like Mastodon, and again,
I didn't like Mastodon because the trying to tell people where you were on it was too difficult. Although Threads is based on Mastodon.
Yeah, Did you know that? No, I didn't know that. I thought it was more. According to Elon, it was more based on Twitter.
Oh no! I mean the code.
He was going around saying that.
It's essentially a Mastodon server with a few more bells and whistles. Fun fact for all the fun people out there. Christine Cash, another $5 US. Thank you. How much money do you have before you lose your mind? Has a study been conducted? I think it's $1 billion. You go absolutely crazy, but there's people who had a lot less than that who've gone nuts. Puddinator, thank you very much for the super chat. Could Musk want to buy Disney due to his space ambitions, land on Mars, and create the first real Disney World? I wouldn't put it past him.
Maybe.
Yeah. Listen, if he wants to go on a one-way ticket to Mars, then that's fine. What's the closest planet to Earth on average?
Is it Mars? Or is it due to rotation, or is it Venus or something like that?
It's Mercury. Because even though it's the furthest away of the rocky planets from us, it's also the closest as it goes around the sun. So when it's on the other side of the sun to us, it's actually the closest. So over the average of the year, being on Mars, not a great idea, because Mars might be literally on the other side of the sun, millions and millions of miles away. It's 93 million miles to the sun. So that adds another 93 million miles on top of that to get to Mars. Yeah. More, actually. Not great. And it's no place to raise the kids, as Elton John once sang. Mostly because you'll be bombarded with radioactive particles, which will destroy your pelvis. Fun. People going, oh, we're going to be landing there by 2024. We'll be setting up a colony on Mars. And I'm just like sitting there going, oh, jeez. You see all the scientists in the world just going, oh, man. But, on average, Mercury, says Yoni. Yes. Either Mercury or Venus, there's Mercury. A smile is one of the best things in the multiverse, says one hanky pagan. Thank you very much. Mercury, the most is closest, and to quote CGP Grey. Ernie says, if Disney World Mars sounds better than Musky World. Well, Musk Trump. Trump Musk. That sounds like the smell from a fart. Smell that Trump Musk.
Trump.
That's a very musky Trump. Anyway, we've got 12 minutes left before we shunt everyone over to go and see our friend Maximilian. We've got a couple of more stories to talk about. First of all, let's talk about AUKUS in the middle of our street. AUKUS. Tell us about AUKUS and why is it turning Australia into the 51st state of America?
Yeah, this was what happened recently. This has caused a bit of a kerfuffle between the US and Australia because of this. But first of all, if they don't know about what AUKUS is a security pact between the UK, Australia, and America. The whole idea is we are building them some new nuclear submarines that's going to be delivered for them, and then it will help to improve the defense of Australia for them. But also, America gets to build some military bases in and around Australia.
Just to interject, this was the deal that really upset the French because they were supposed to be building the submarines.
Yep. So, obviously, this has very much upset their former prime minister, and he has been one of these people who's been consistently been saying, look, we think that Taiwan is actually part of China. Australia, its strategic interest, we don't really care. China just gets to do pretty much whatever it wants. That seems to be his line of thinking. And as this pact has now been sort of more formalized in Australian Parliament, he's come out and said, well, you don't understand this. So this will make us the 51st state of America. He says, putting on a terrible Australian accent.
Scouse accent, mate.
Terrible
Australian accent.
Australia.
It's almost as bad as my Scouse accent. Australia, mate. It's not Australia. It's Australia. Right? You got to get it right. Australia.
Or Australia. Australian national anthem. This is the wattle, the emblem of our land. You can stick it in a bottle. You can hold it in your hand. Australia.
Australia.
So, yeah, this has sort of upset the apple cart a bit because, it's a former prime minister of a country basically saying, well, look, China can basically do what it wants with Taiwan. We as Australia should not be interested in any way, shape, or form. It's like the Venetians saying, what the Turks do with Constantinople is no one's business but the Turks. And, well, we all know what happened to Constantinople. It's now called Istanbul. But
it's Istanbul, not Constantinople.
Yep.
So if you've got a date in Constantinople, it should be waiting in Istanbul.
Yep.
Who sung that originally? Go on, pop quiz. Who originally sung Istanbul? There you go. That's our pop quiz question. And no, it wasn't. They Might Be Giants. Andrew Antonio, thank you very much for the super chat, mate. DDoS, double dunces, obfuscating stuff. I like it. Yep. And also, Jet Hunt is saying, plus Mars is full of terrifying tripod machines. Yep. Dun dun dun. Diddle diddle. And Billy Kershaw, lady, is the water cold tonight? Does the milky moonlight warm your heart to me? Let the devil take the park attendant first. My heart will burst, so I'm not waiting any longer. Well, there you go.
Well,
thanks for that. The Byzantines, says Billy Kershaw. Jup James, to be fair, giving Taiwan the seat at UN Security Council to represent all of China was a really stupid move. Yeah. But that was before. That was before the 70s when China decided to take the seat instead. It is West Taiwan. The Four Lads, says Nellie Olson. And that's Earth's fate. This is from Benjamin. Earth's fate will be determined on how its orbit changes as the sun loses mass with its expansion. I read that when the sun does expand, it won't explode. It doesn't have enough fuel. It will expand and it will consume the inner two planets, but then the Earth will actually be pushed out by the gravity. The gravity of the sun will bump us and will be nudged away, so we won't actually be consumed by the sun. but we will be just a cinderous rock because we'll still be so close to it that we will all evaporate, or anything that's left, and the pyramids will melt. One Angry Pagan says, paleontologists are having a party to celebrate the unearthing of the largest ever dinosaur tibia. It's going to be quite the shindig.
Oh. Oh.
Love it. Okay, and we've got one more story before we move. Well, have we said enough about Paul Keating, who used to be Prime Minister of Australia in the 1990s for some reason? He's a liberal, but that doesn't mean a liberal. It means he's a conservative, and he's a dickhead, and we all hate him. But yeah, apparently
Australians and weird politics.
Australians got to be part of the USA. Actually, funny story, when we joined what was then the EEC back in the 1970s, we ended the free movement between the Commonwealth realms, and we sacked off Australia and New Zealand, etc., as our major trading partners because they were on the other side of the world and hardly had any people in them. They turned their attention, well, the Australians did, to America. So you go to Australia, and a lot of the stuff over there is more heavily influenced by American culture than it is by British culture. So it might be
until Bluey came along.
Until Bluey came along, which is the greatest show on earth. But also fascinating little detail about the Olympics. So did you see the Australian breakdancer?
No.
It was fantastic. It was a homage to the Praise You video. It's a Fatboy Slim video. Praise You. I think it was Michelle Gondry. No, it was Spike Jones did that video where Spike Jones danced like a lunatic with a group of people outside a theatre in New York, I think it was. Anyway, breakdancing's not actually going to be in the LA Olympics.
Oh,
in 2024, which is weird because breakdancing originated from the US. But do you know what is going to be at the Olympics next time?
Oh,
cricket. Ooh. How brilliant is that?
Oh, so is it going to be? Is it what is it called? Is it 2020? The fast version of the cricket game because that's been gaining a lot of popularity. That's been growing incredibly quickly.
The one where they all wore multicolored shell suits when it first started, and everyone thought it looked a bit funny. But yeah, because in the rugby's, it's the rugby sevens, isn't it? In the Olympics to get through all the teams and all the matches very quickly. GHK, thank you very much for the £2 super chat, mate. Aussies post World War II. We all live in a Jello submarine. There you go. And Pagan on the Pot says Billy Kesh. I don't know what that's referring to, Billy. Oz is far too hot, says Captain Bart Roberts. You're telling me, mate. Liberal, the most confusing political term ever. I know. There's liberal elites in America from the West Coast and the East Coast. They're causing all the problems, mate. But the liberal elites in Australia, they're all the conservatives who own all the oil. Benjamin, cricket will be at the Olympics. Oh, God, it's going to be months of people standing around doing nothing. Yes, Benjamin, because that is the game of cricket. Although they did play cricket in the 1900s Olympic Games, along with a load of mad stuff. If you look up what the games they had in the 1900 Olympic Games, I think they had
shooting, pistol dueling.
Dueling, I think they had knitting. I think they had oratory. They had just like loads of weird stuff. I think they're just giving it a go. You know, see what we can do.
We'll just give it a try. See what happens.
Just give it a try. Give it a try. It's a sport. It's croquet. They definitely played croquet at an Olympic level, which is hilarious. Anyway, so we've got one more story that we've got 4 minutes to talk about. So yes, Mr. Lammy goes to China.
Yeah, Lammy's off to China. I think this is quite a good move, to be honest. I've said in the past, look, you've got to talk to all these countries. I always criticize a lot of right-wing conservatives in the way that they talk about China, that they give this impression that you can just put China back in its box and it'll just go away.
It's not as simple as that.
Yeah, that ain't going to work like that. So it's good that, Lammy is going to go to China and that he is going to go, speak to them. And, not all of it is going to be, let's, be all happy hand clappy. He is going to sort of go and talk about, the human rights issues. Hong Kong will probably come up in this discussion as well, very probably. Yeah. But we'll see what happens when this comes around in September, when this trip goes off, and we'll talk about it on here. But I am actually quite pleased that he is, because I think, as always, as I said, countries should go speak to and talk to each other.
Jaw is better than war. As
Exactly.
Winston
So
Churchill once said, "That's George. Is that the best he could do?" George, oh mate, he won the Nobel Prize for literature as well. Gives me hope. Gives me hope. It does. And David W is telling us that the Olympic Games were invented by Arthurletics. Arthurletics. Going for the dad jokes in the chat tonight. Thanks. Keep them coming. Nice that we can send adults to talk to other countries now, says Captain. This is exactly what Ollie was just saying. Yeah, that's what we need. We need to be discussing these issues because, pulling up your drawbridge and standing on the top of your castle and shouting insults at anyone who happens to walk by is not a great foreign policy, I have to say. Not that I'm an expert in these matters.
Look what happened to Trump during his tenure. Everyone was like, "What's going on, America? Are you okay?
Are you okay?" The fact that he's got so far, though, I mean, it did look until about a month ago that he was going to win. I know it's not looking so likely now, but that is ridiculous. A man who is a convicted felon. He is an adjudicated rapist. He is someone who has managed to bankrupt a casino. How do you bankrupt a casino, Ollie? How? Like, the house always wins. You have to be particularly bad at business to bankrupt a casino.
There's a really good documentary about that, and it's about the Trump Taj Mahal in
Atlantic City.
That's it. Atlantic City. That's it. It's a really interesting documentary about everything that went on behind the scenes behind that. It's quite a wild story. Quite a wild story indeed.
We've got some more jokes coming in. This is some Pete's music. Never buy a cheap violin. It may be a fiddle. And when I was a little kid, I once went to a fancy dress party. You had to go as a musical instrument, and I went as a harp, and I walked in. I was only little. I was only about like 5 or 6, and they said, "You can't be a harp. You're too small." I said, "Are you calling me a liar?"
Oh dear.
Is it still on?
oh dear.
Anyway, let's end the shit jokes. Vendetta's saying, "Oi, Pooh Bear, wind your neck in." Lammy, probably. No, David Lammy's not going to call Chi Pooh Bear because the people who do call it Pooh Bear end up in a jail cell somewhere in the northwest of China. Puppet for sale, going cheap, no strings attached. I'm sorry for starting this now. It wasn't even me who started it, was it? But I will end it. I will end. And Blue Badger said, "I did moi." I think that's a laugh, but it's a moi. Anyway, is there anything else we need to say before we chuck everyone over in Max's direction?
Oh yes, the Houthis, because this broke earlier on today. The Houthis have taken a UN facility in Yemen.
Shit.
And they've been booting out foreign nationals to work for aid agencies over there, accusing them of spying for America. So, yeah, that's a bit of a downturn, unfortunately.
I feel really sorry for Yemen. It's being played by Iran and Saudi Arabia as a proxy war between those two countries, and you're like,
that's something else that could also be heating up as well.
How about you have your own war if you want a war, guys? Don't have a proxy war in someone else's country.
Yeah,
although it does seem very strange for someone with my kind of British accent to be saying that.
Yeah. Biden has ordered, I think I can't remember which fleet it is now, to double time it over to the Med to sort of be there, because they do think that Iran is gearing up for something. Hopefully it doesn't happen, of course, because it will be pretty much a missile flinging war. But also possibly it looks like Israel might go into southern Lebanon as well to try and take on Hamas, not Hamas, Hezbollah.
Hezbollah.
Yeah.
Shit.
And that didn't go too well for them last time, so Yeah, it might not go. This might go end up being the same this time as well. But there'll
Yeah.
be missiles coming in then from Iran.
Well,
So,
I hope
yeah,
next time
hopefully this
we
doesn't
have a
go down.
talk,
Hopefully.
something's changed in the leadership of Israel, because it's just becoming untenable, and I think that
Yeah.
more people are turning against what's happening in Gaza. The more that they learn that the security services of Israel knew that October the 7th was coming, and this has all come out now, and like this whole thing is to stop Netanyahu from going to jail. Oh my God, what all the stuff that's going on in the world at the moment that's absolutely fucked one way or another is all to stop some horrible rich old man from going to jail.
Yeah.
Or being executed in the case of Putin. Right. Captain Bart Roberts is pointing out, in most stringent terms, it was 3 casinos, not just one casino that he made go bankrupt. It was 3 casinos, 3 casinos, 3 casinos, all caps, in ever increasing numbers of exclamation marks. So yeah, okay, Captain. We'll take that on board. Anyway, so that's it now for today. I'll be back in the morning at 9:30 for morning brew. So please join me for that, where I'll be talking about the sentences that have been handed out to the rioters last week. Ho ho ho! How we've chuckled. So come and join some Schadenfreude with me, because you know it's all good. 3 whole casinos, says Captain Bart Roberts. Anyway, thank you very much, Ollie Bowler Hatman, for giving us your wisdom on what's happening around the world of Geoscope. Thank you very much to everyone in the chat, all our socialites there. Thank you for all the super chats. That's really kind of you, especially on a Tuesday night. I'm glad we could keep you entertained for at least half an hour, talking about what's been going on around the world. And until next time, I'll say, giz a like. And until next time, giz a like, la. And until next time, hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.
Bye.